Hey, hey, hey. All right, grab Ecosystem Part 3. And this one doesn't look so bad. Okay, so this is all about how do we impact the environment. What do we do? The first thing we're going to talk about is how we do agriculture, right? Planting crops. And if you think about when we plant, like let's say we plant corn in rows. We plant it over year after year after plant after plant after plant after plant. What we're doing is we're draining the natural nutrients from the soil. And so all the normal natural fertilizer, not the stuff you buy at the store, but the natural fertilizer is drained out. And so harvesting actually promotes a loss of nutrients. Then we put in artificial fertilizers, fake fertilizers. It's no different than eating preservatives in your food. We're doing that to the soil. And so fertilizers does replace, but it's not the real stuff. So it's chemically altered. The critical load refers to the maximum amount of nutrients that plants can absorb. And so soils are getting less nutrient because of agriculture. So that's one thing we're doing. Fossil fuels. Okay, so check out this picture. You got a steamboat, a train, like a chemical plant, and really just fire. All of those things. We're burning fossil fuels, and you want to know that puts CO2 into the air. So you have to write that in. It's not there. Burning fossil fuels puts CO2 into the air. Well, CO2 is acidic. And so there's acidity, getting in the water, and that's causing, if you look at this right here, it's showing a map of the United States and the different pHs of rain. And so our pH is pretty low. If anything less than 5.6 is acidic, then ours is acidic. Right? Do y'all see that? It says sulfur and nitrogen oxides are the main cause. They're released by fossil fuels. And what it's doing is it's killing the plants. So look right here, you can see these plants. That's called leaching. And it says that in your notes, leaches. It pushes the nutrients away. So fossil fuels increase the CO2, which makes acid rain, which is affecting the plants. So, but how can we solve that? You know, what can we do to fix that problem? I don't know. We could stop driving our cars, but you know that's kind of impossible. Okay, biological magnification. Basically, what this is as you go up the trophic levels. Let me draw. Ooh, that was bad. As you go up the trophic level, primary producer, primary consumer, secondary consumer, tertiary consumer, the amount of toxins increases. So it's not even, it wouldn't be a triangle, it would be upside down, right? The amount of toxins increases up the trophic levels. And so let me give you an example. If you put a toxin on the soil and like too much fertilizer, and cows eat the fertilizer. So here's your toxin in the soil, and now the cows ate it. And then we all eat hamburgers. So we're getting more toxin than the grass did. We're getting more toxin than the cow did because we eat more. You know, we eat a lot of we eat multiple hamburgers. We eat, and the cow ate lots of grass. Not just one little blade, but a lot of it. And so biological magnification says the buildup of poison and heavy metals, the higher you get up the food chain, the poison gets more and more concentrated, which causes health problems. Okay, DDT and PCB are just both toxins that have gotten in waters and cause problems in certain areas. If you've ever been to Anniston, Alabama, up north, they have a problem with their toxic water. And that's close to like Oxford or Jacksonville, Alabama. To name a couple, it says use of this has led to organisms going extinct or health issues. Rachel Carson wrote a book in 1960 about Silent Springs. And the point of the book, 1971, I was wrong. The point of the book was just how we're dumping into waters and we're dumping into the environment, and that's hurting the animals. And so although it was a long time ago, is still applicable today to think about it. And I always try to think like everything we flush down our commodes is going into the soil. All right, that's probably going into your backyard and pipes and stuff. And so the only things we should flush down our commode are things that are biodegradable. Toilet paper is safe, but is it okay to flush down plastic, like plastic applicators? No. And so we should be cautious as we put stuff in our commodes because they're going down out into the environment. Okay, this next thing shows that CO2 and temperature are increasing. Yeah, global warming, it's getting, temperature and CO2 are both increasing. Now, are those things related? Possibly. The amount of CO2 is going up. Yeah, the amount of cars are going up. The amount of fossil fuels are going up. The amount of plants are probably going down because we're cutting down trees and building targets. I love Target. I'm just stating the facts. And so, we're cutting down trees, deforestation, and fossil fuels. And that's causing the temperature to increase, some people think. The greenhouse effect is that it says the greenhouse effect and greenhouse gases are increasing and are raising the temperature. Okay, and this is showing the ozone layer. There's a layer of atmosphere around the planet called the ozone layer. And certain things we're using, such as refrigerators and aerosol cans, are making the ozone layer thinner. And so the moral to the story, if we keep making the ozone layer thinner, then more sunlight's going to come through, and that's going to make people get more skin cancer, high impacts of radiation. Right now it's like we got sunscreen around the world, and the sunscreen's getting thinner and thinner and thinner because of the chlorofluorocarbons that we're using. And so each chlorofluorocarbon destroys 100,000 ozone molecules. And so ozone helps block out harmful radiation so we don't get burned. The ozone holes in Antarctica, I got this picture here. You can see the blue is where it's a hole. And look at this. Oh, because of the ozone melting, the ice caps in Antarctica are melting, and that's where the polar bears live. And so that could cause problems, and it could cause cancer. So I hope this was helpful.